What's going on, guys? Mickle here. In this video, we are covering the latest and greatest in the Ripple SEC case. John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan have both made statements regarding a huge motion going on in this case right now. They address what this motion means for Ripple's defense and how impactful it will be to this case going forward. You guys need to see this because it is the next massive decision that will be made in this case. Guys, today was also the last day of expert discovery. I'm going to be going over what this means for the case going forward and what it could also mean for any possible delays in the future. Guys, if you are new to this channel or come here all the time, make sure to like and subscribe. It does so much to support this channel for free and means so much to me. Also, if you do not have an Uphold account already, make sure to sign up using the link in the description below. With that said though, let's jump right into it and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, for those of you who don't know, today marks the official end of expert discovery in the Ripple SEC case. I guess technically an extension still could be filed, but so far it looks like today will be the official end. In past extensions, we have seen them filed around 2 to 3 weeks before the actual end of expert discovery. I have not seen anything filed yet. So as of now, it looks like today should be the last day. My fingers are crossed. This is huge for the case because we've been waiting so long for this expert discovery to be finished up. It was supposed to end around August originally, kept getting pushed back, and now here we are, but finally it looks like we have reached the end. The reason this is so huge for this case going forward is because expert discovery is really when Ripple and the SEC were gathering all their materials going forward and figuring out what they were going to be able to use for this case going forward. Most of the biggest decisions in this case still haven't been made, and Ripple and the SEC both haven't had a very large incentive to settle yet because both of them were still collecting all their information. It wouldn't make sense for either of them to settle the case before expert discovery was done with because both of them were still building their case. Now that discovery is over with, both parties have all the materials they will have going forward. So now they will be in a better position to gauge how strong each other's argument is going forward in this case. It's also a huge moment in this case because now it's going to be time for the judge to start making a lot of the critical decisions that are going to dictate how strong each party's argument really is. The judge is going to know what documents each side has now, so she's going to begin now ruling on whether or not some of these documents will be handed over to the opposing side. Overall, the end of expert discovery means things are going to start moving a lot faster in this case now that both parties are done bickering over what side should get what and what shouldn't. The judge is going to have more clear-cut rulings and the parties are likely going to be forced to abide by whatever she says. Looking back at the expert discovery period, I believe one of the most interesting things was the fact that Ripple was on the offensive the entire time while the SEC was actually on the defensive and tried very hard not to hand over any of the documents Ripple was asking for, and the SEC took very little time actually trying to get documents from Ripple. This is so interesting because as many of us know, the SEC is the ones who brought this case. So it's so funny to see that they brought this case, and meanwhile, they are the ones being attacked by Ripple's legal team as the SEC just tries to sit there and stall. One thing we do know, and this has come out of multiple sides of Ripple's legal team, is the SEC is using time as a weapon in this case. They have been delaying because the law is not on their side. We can see right here from the general counsel of Ripple's legal team, Stuart Alderati, he says this is why the SEC plays the delay card and uses it to their advantage. Because the SEC does not care about whether they were on the right or wrong side of the law. They are simply trying to chill people with enforcement action. So what he's saying here is the SEC never cared if they were right or wrong in this scenario. They were using the lawsuit as a weapon, and that's why they were delaying this case so often. They didn't care about getting more evidence or even if their position was right or wrong. They simply cared about trying to wear down Ripple's financial resources and weaken them in this lawsuit. Time has been the SEC's only weapon this entire time, and that's why they have been stuck on the defensive. There's no facts or no evidence they can get from Ripple that is going to prove their case. At the end of the day, they filed a case that didn't make sense. XRP is not a security. It will never be declared a security because it doesn't meet the SEC's own definition of what a security is. Therefore, it is in the SEC's biggest incentive not to get any more evidence because at the end of the day, almost all the evidence goes against their own agency. The only thing they can do without further hurting their position is simply to delay the inevitable. The longer they delay the inevitable, the more they wear down Ripple and force Ripple to accept terms that are worse and better for the SEC. Let's keep moving though, and I thought this was pretty interesting. The best way we can prevent the SEC from using this stall tactic is using Connect to Congress. When the SEC is forced to answer to congressmen who are hearing from their constituents who are pissed off by the fact that everyone's complaining that they're being hurt by an agency that's supposed to protect them, that's when the SEC is forced to get in line. Right here we have John Deaton saying he actually spoke to a senator today, and this is huge progress. It shows that the walls are closing in on the SEC and people are sick of their arbitrary enforcement actions that have little to do with their mandate of protecting the retail investor. Let's keep moving though, and I wanted to show you this also because I believe this says a lot to the nonsensical nature of the SEC lawsuit. Right here, this is a lawyer I follow. He says in a letter Jay Clayton wrote, the analysis of whether a digital asset is offered or sold as a security is not static. It does not strictly adhere to the instrument. So that means what Jay Clayton wrote to a congressman was that the sale of a digital asset, it's not necessarily this asset itself, is not necessarily the cryptocurrency that's a security, it's the entire scheme of selling it. It's the sale, and this the security status does not necessarily adhere to the asset itself. So what Jay Clayton is saying here in the case of the XRP lawsuit was, well, it's not necessarily the XRPs that's the security, it's more of how Ripple sold the XRP. Well, that's very confusing because in the lawsuit, Jay Clayton alleged at all relevant times during the offering, XRP was an investment contract and therefore is a security. Right here, we can see this lawsuit filed by Jay Clayton completely contradicts the things he was saying in the past. In the past, what he was saying made sense. Yes, the way Ripple sold some of the XRP, that sale, the contract involved in that sale could have been a security. The thing that doesn't make any sense is calling XRP a security because that goes against what the SEC has said for the last 100 years of what a security is. These are the points, and this is really the main thing in this lawsuit that makes me think we are watching a show to bring clarity to a market. The SEC knew this argument wouldn't work of XRP being a security because it doesn't meet their definition of what a security is. So why would they file a lawsuit against the strongest, most powerful, most well-financed cryptocurrency company in the world making such an absurd accusation? It really makes you think, especially since we have knowledge right here that Jay Clayton knew this wasn't the case. It makes your head spin, and it's one of the reasons why I find this case so fascinating. That along with Ripple's partners, because when you look at Ripple's board of executives, you look at it and you're like, these people are not here for no reason. Let's keep moving though, and I want to get into the massive thing going on today. This is what really all the lawyers are talking about. John Deaton tweets out, and this is surrounding Brad Garlinghouse trying to get notes from the SEC regarding what Elad Roisman told him regarding XRP. John Deaton tweets out, this is potentially huge exculpatory evidence. If these notes are produced and corroborate Brad Garlinghouse's testimony that he left the meeting with Roisman feeling confident that ongoing sales of XRP were not sales of unregistered securities, game over. So John Deaton is telling us that these notes from this meeting could end the SEC's case flat out. And the reason is because if Elad Roisman, a commissioner at the SEC, was telling Brad Garlinghouse that XRP is not a security, then this just puts to bed almost every single one of the SEC's accusations. One of the main premises the SEC is running their case on is that Ripple should have known what they were doing was wrong. Well, if you have commissioners at the agency telling Ripple what you're doing is not wrong, well, then that makes the whole case trivial. It shows that this case had nothing to do with protecting anyone and was simply used for something else that maybe one day we'll get the answer to, but it certainly is not for the reasons that the SEC is alleging. So if we keep moving though, and we can see that a lot of different lawyers have weighed in on this, Bill, he commented on this, and he says specifically that he believes that Ripple will be able to get these notes because he believes that these notes are going to be so exculpatory, and that means so critical to the case, that Ripple will be granted them because it essentially disproves everything the SEC is alleging in the case they brought against Ripple. And just think about that. The SEC brought this case against Ripple saying that their founders should have known what they were doing was wrong, and then were in meetings with Ripple telling them that what they were doing wasn't wrong. That just lets you guys know that there is a lot going on behind the scenes here. I pray one day we will have all the answers, but we might not. Anyways, it's still one of the most fascinating things I've ever paid attention to. Jeremy Hogan weighs in on this also, and Jeremy Hogan commented on this specific motion in the past, actually, and he said, I'm not sure if Ripple gets these notes. He thought the SEC made a good argument. I reached out to him again after this most recent filing, and I said, do you think these are handed over to Ripple, or do you still think Ripple won't get them? And he said, I think they should, based on the judge's prior rulings, I do not think they do, but I hope she proves me wrong. So we've seen now three lawyers who think Ripple should get them. Jeremy Hogan still doesn't believe they will, based on the judge's prior ruling, but Jeremy Hogan later goes out and makes the point that honestly, it doesn't really matter if Ripple gets them, because if this case goes to trial, then either way, Ripple will be able to get them because they are going to be critical to the case. So I think the best way to look at these notes right now is either way, if Ripple needs them and it comes down to a bad scenario for XRP possibly being on the table, Ripple will get to see these notes. And as John Deaton said, these notes are exculpatory and will likely end the SEC's case. So if worse comes to worse, it looks like no matter what, Ripple will be able to get these notes. It will likely be better for them in staging a good settlement for the company if they get them earlier. With that said, though, I hope you guys enjoyed this update. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're still here. Thank you so much for coming. For now, Mickle out.